What is going on, everybody? Welcome back into the Bear With Us podcast. As always, I am Frank, joined by Naz. Naz, how we feeling, man?
Feeling good, baby. New league year almost about to start. Springtime's in the air. A nice day in Chicago today. Let's go.
Yeah, no, it's all coming together. You know, I think back at my childhood, I think sports-wise, what were my favorite moments? And maybe it's, now that I'm thinking, maybe it's because Chicago sports didn't have so much success, still doesn't. But like pitchers and catchers reporting to spring training was a big deal for me as a kid. I loved it. It's like swinging back in. New league year for the NFL because you're getting hope. You're signing Julius Peppers. You're like doing these big things. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Is that childhood trauma? Is that just us not winning very much and just like that's when the hope was reinstilled? Do you think?
Yeah. You know, I've randomly been like listening to a podcast where like the guest, it's like hasn't even been sports related, but the guest has been like from Chicago. They're just like, yeah, you know, there's something about the offseason I just love. It's probably because all our teams like suck and I never like actually enjoy actual season stuff. But there's something about the optimism of the offseason that like I traditionally just get excited. And you know, I couldn't relate to that feeling anymore, especially right now, considering the situation of the sports.
Yeah, and it's there's this weird thing though, because I do think this is probably not only Chicago exclusive. Other fan bases are pretty miserable as well, and they probably relate with that. So I'm trying to like balance my real feeling of like, I don't think we've ever seen a Chicago sports team be set up or like have the ability to be set up this, you know, well into the future. I think the only one that comes to mind is the Cubs with what Theo did with the farm system. So I'm weighing that between like, how much of this is just like, I'm always excited. Like I was fucking raring to go for like EQ and Dante Pettis just a few short years ago. You know what I mean? Like how much of what is the real balance here?
Frank, you might need to look in the mirror if you're getting excited about EQ.
No, I mean not literally, but just things are happening.
I feel you.
All right, let's so today's topic, y'all, is going to be just sort of what we see as the biggest holes on the Bears roster right now. Specific positions and really how we'd like to see them addressed. Before we get there, some relatively big news, if you will, has come out, and it looks like Justin Fields has unfollowed the Chicago Bears on Instagram, potentially other social medias as well. But now, I mean, reports are starting to really trickle in that, hey, they're gonna do right by him. They've already had conversations at the I don't even know, the GM's meeting. I forget what it was exactly, media day, something like that. And while he wasn't necessarily, he wasn't being broadcasted with the for sale sign, the writing was on the wall and people were definitely inquiring to a point where like trade down talks were being had with Washington and not Chicago, or trade up for these potential suitors. Naz, general thoughts. Justin Fields writing on the wall unfollows Chicago Bears on IG.
It's kind of I would say I'm feeling like bittersweet. It's like, all right, he sees it coming, we all see it coming, and it's just like we have been saying for months, like we actually love Justin. Like I think he's a good leader of a football team and a good dude, and like I think he's gonna have success. It just didn't work out here, so it was just like, all right, yeah, like I am gonna miss some of the playmaking and just the good vibes you get around when Justin's playing well. But, it is what it is kind of. And bring on Caleb.
Yeah, there's this, I mean, part of me was just definitely, there was two parts. Like part of me is just definitely accepting that we're moving on from Justin, even though logically Caleb is, to me, the better choice, and to a lot of people, just because of the ceiling. We've had that whole talk. I'm not going to, delve into that. There's something, Naz, that still just hurts my heart, man. Like, I don't know, just as a dude, forget, I know the advanced stance and everything that can come up that show it. Maybe he's not a good quarterback or maybe only an average quarterback in certain areas, whatever. But like, we've never had that with the Bears, at least in our lifetime. I mean, we've like gotten close with Hester, but you only touch the ball so many times. Like, we're talking about a premier position that has the ability to completely change the game in one play. And those like 60-yard touchdown runs and, the deep shots to more. I mean, we just saw him in spurts, but like he gave us a reason to fall in love with a football player. And again, this will be repetitive, but like to a point where we said like our podcast right now would be so different if we only had the number 9 pick. We'd be like, well, who could be there? Like, is Odunze going to be there? Or is someone like, it wouldn't even be discussing moving on from it. We'd probably be discussing as a fifth year option, should we pick that up or whatever. But yeah, I can't, again, I know I've said this too. I can't shake the fact that like, he's just brought joy to us. Some frustration too, like every athlete does, but like, it's just such a bittersweet thing. Like you said, it's, I thought because I accepted it and we all knew that the Bears are going with Caleb, it wouldn't hurt my heart as much. But as soon as that report came out and other people are coming out, like I know it. I know, like my brain is like, yes, this is what's going to happen. New age people start unfollowing on social media. It is what it is. Reports are coming out about, potential trades and the Bears doing them right, which we all were hoping for happen. But still, it's like, fuck, dude, this sucks. It's still like, it doesn't suck in the long run because I think Caleb will be the better player, but just for what it is, it sucks. So I think we had similar sentiments.
Yeah, I mean, some of those flashes, like there are things on a football field that Justin can do that Caleb can't do. There's very few athletes in the league that have that athleticism at the quarterback position, and there's going to be plays that Justin makes at his next stop, and some of us we're gonna grin because we're happy for him, but we're also gonna be like, it was pretty fucking cool when he did that.
Yeah.
There will be some of those vibes, and obviously we wish him nothing but the best and hope it works out for him. And we'll miss him to some degree, but that's the nature of the biz.
No, 100%. I mean, and I honestly, I don't know if there's ever been another athlete in which I will be rooting for as much as I will be for Justin in his next stop. Like, I tried to even think of like the list, like even Roquan. I know people were pissed that he left, but like he was an asshole to deal with. Like a lot of the I think it was a lot of people who didn't pay attention to the reports that were coming out while he was here. Even starting from the draft with the whole weird, like I'm representing myself, but there's this what was his name? Omni Saint.
I don't even know.
Yeah, something, whatever his name was. And the whole, like, he wants guarantees when he got drafted, but like the CBA literally doesn't allow for that. Like what he was asking about. I mean, it was just like a lot. And then the whole family night thing where he just like throws Ryan Poles under the bus and like tries to get ownership involved. And it's like, dude, again, phenomenal football player. But I'm not saying I was rooting against him. I became indifferent about wherever he went and whatever was going to happen. Cool, you do your thing. I know you're a phenomenal linebacker. You're going to be good no matter where you go. You moved on from Jay. You went to Miami. You're like, oh, cool, slinging. Jay's still slinging it. He's still making dumb decisions every now and then. It is what it is. Cool. I'm
Smoking
cool
Jay.
Smoking Jay. He's still the same guy. Like, I don't know if they're even like Forte. He goes to the Jets. Cool. I mean, his time sort of ran out here. It is what it is. He had a really good career with us. I can't think of another player, especially Bears, but even like non-Bears, like Derrick Rose was another one, but he's like, we knew his knees were done. We knew he was never getting back to that MVP Rose,
Seeing Greg Olsen go to Pro Bowl after Pro Bowl was probably the shittiest I felt.
Yes,
from a Bears player leaving, where I was just like, why the fuck wasn't he doing this here? And it was like, obviously not his fault. It was like, they built the Carolina offense around the middle of the field because that's what Cam did best as a thrower, and it led to great things for Greg. But man, was I annoyed that they were getting the most out of him and he was playing every fucking snap, and Mike Martz didn't like the way he blocked, and that's the reason he wasn't on his fucking team.
And also refused to use him in the slot in a manner that Carolina did a ton. Yeah,
super annoying.
Yeah, that was one.
That Shockey Greg Olsen duo for that 1 year, it was low key. It was low key fire.
It was fucking elite. Shockey has become one of the underrated tight ends of our life, I think.
For sure, yeah, and I think the injuries had like a lot to do with it. But that dude, when he was right, was pretty fucking good.
Oh yeah, no, totally agreed. But yeah, I mean, so all that to say, it sucks, and I thought me accepting it mentally would help the heart, and it has not. Because after I saw that, I watched some Justin Fields highlights, and I was like, fuck, he had the potential to be so goddamn good here, and it's over. It's over.
Yeah,
it is what it is. All right, so we had the same exact. I thought you'd be a little more cold-hearted than me. But again, isn't it hard to not like the guy? Forget football, just like
literally, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Like, I like the dude, and so I'm at the point where like I've actually separated the fact that he's not a Bear from myself, and I'm in like a good place with it. I think I'm just like rooting. I'm just gonna, like you said, I'm going to be rooting hard for that dude.
Yeah,
wherever he goes.
No, for sure. And then really, to me, the last piece for it is I do hope that, because this is what we said early on. We didn't need anyone to confirm it. We knew Poles was going to do this. Because he did the same thing for Robert Quinn, who we had no ties to, of like, let's get you to a good situation, because that does go a long way. Like, I know people want to act like it's all business, which it is, but part of it, feelings and egos are involved in this business. So if you do wrong by players,
Agents too.
Agents, exactly. That gets around the league. You don't survive in this league treating people any kind of way. I mean, you saw it even, this is like an extreme example, but you saw it with John Gruden. Even before these crazy reports and things came out with the emails, like he rubbed a lot of players the wrong way, and that probably had his teams miss out on free agents, which just is what it is. So,
for sure.
Awesome. Let's Nas, let's dive into the meat and potatoes here. I have a list of what I think are the biggest needs. Again, I didn't write these in order. And maybe we order them, and that becomes a debate when we end the episode. But these are, to me, the biggest needs. Would you rather we go one by one and sort of talk through them, or whole list and go from there?
I say we talk whole list, for both of us. And then I think after that we talk about how the Bears are going to approach that need.
Perfect.
Needs.
Sounds good. Would you like to go first?
You can go. Go ahead.
Awesome. Number one for me is extend Jalen Johnson. And if I could have wrote that 3 times on the list, I would have. Because if we go into the 2024 NFL season, he is not a Chicago Bear. And I would even wager to say not franchise tagged either. I don't like that. There's a little bit of a red flag there for me for Poles. You got to pay the homegrown talent. He's proven himself, and I'm already starting to see this weird fucking thing with Bears fans of, he's not going to be able to replicate. What are we talking about here? Like exact stats? No, but he's shown to be elite. Extend Jalen Johnson, number 1. I guess like 1B here, center. We need to address center at all facets. 3, edge rusher. 4, offensive guard, potentially 2 of them. 5, I wrote at least 2 wide receivers, if not fucking 3. 6, safety. 7 and 8 were a little. Did I number in this right? I don't even know if I'm the right number. I dashed it instead of numbered it. Another tight end who I think complements Cole a little bit. And one for me that I put it low on the list because I would love it, but it's maybe not the highest of needs, but I'd love to see it, is an explosive running back. I feel like a running back room is a little too similar right now. So that was my list of needs for the Chicago Bears. What did yours look like?
My list is a little broader. Like I went O-line, D-line, secondary, receiver, and then a speed tight end. And based off of the free agent list, so I'm just going to dive into that. It feels like we're going to address O-line through the draft, is my guess for Ryan. I think we're going to trade. Now looking at like the roster depth chart, who we've already cut, what the free agent market looks like, I think Poles is going to trade out of 9 and really attack the interior on both the offensive and defensive line. And have you looked at the edge free agent list? That like the D line free agent list?
I know Daniel Hunter is last name, right? Is out there from Minnesota.
Daniel Hunter's on there. Yeah. This is the list. This is actually pretty.
I remember it being good.
I don't think all these guys are going to get franchised. So some of these guys are going to be available. Okay. We have Chris Jones out of Kansas City.
Mm-hmm. We
have Josh Allen, edge rusher out of Jacksonville. We have Brian Burns, edge rusher out of Carolina, who I really like.
I do too.
We have Justin Matabuki out of Baltimore. We have Christian Wilkins out of Miami. And then there was one more that Danielle Hunter was one of them. And then where was one more? Maybe that was it. Oh, and Leonard Williams coming out of Seattle. So I just felt like there's so much depth on the from the D line spot that it feels like I do feel like Poles is going to use free agents. We have $70 million cap room. Part of that's going to go to Jalen. Obviously he hasn't signed his contract. I'm hoping it's either I really hope this isn't an all-time deal at the cornerback position. In my opinion, we either franchise him or we extend him. That's something that's still like top 5, but like not an all-time record-setting deal. I think that puts us in a really great position to sign one of these edge D-line dudes and attack it that way. And then honestly, the way they've been drafting in the secondary, I feel like those later rounds are going to be looking for those sleeper picks, and maybe sign one of these guys that's available. It looks like Antoine Winfield Jr. Like he's going to get franchiser tagged, but like a dude like Kendall Fuller is out there. Like there are dudes on the lower end of free agency that we can pick up. The D line list is insane. Like I really do think we're going to come away with the premier D line dude. And then I would the tight end thing. Like I pretty much want to do the anti Atlanta. I want to look for a dude who is raw but can catch and is fast. I don't really care if it comes through the receiver ranks or the tight end ranks, but we need a size speed guy. When was the last time we had a size speed guy?
Kevin
like
White
that could actually catch. Yeah, I mean Kevin honestly, I mean Kevin White, yeah, I guess, but like Cordero Patterson made like Kevin White look like a little bitch.
Oh
like,
yeah, 100%.
Like we've had like he wasn't that big, like he wasn't that much of a phenom, like a phenom. So like can we just find one of those dudes in like the 5th round who's a little raw but can like catch the ball and just run him up the seam and help Caleb out a little bit, like and I think O-line is going to be a bit. I think we're going to see a lot of O-line in the draft based off just like what the free agent list is, what the salary cap situation is, and who we've already cut Cody. Like I do think I did not see a veteran center on there, so I think Poles has either got to draft a rookie center or trade for one, and I don't know. I mean, and I didn't look to see if there was any dudes in a contract year that like a team would dump. I haven't checked that, but I will be looking out for that. I'm interested to see how he addresses that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with the size and speed guy, and that's who I had in mind for tight end. I was also thinking, you made me think when you said it could be receivers. I mean, you're probably talking about the kid from LSU, Brian Thomas. He fits that mold. You thinking to trade back from 9? He's going to be available there because I've seen him go in the 2nd or 3rd in mock drafts. You recoup a 2nd maybe for Justin. Like someone like that could really fit the mold, and you're not asking him to be your 1. You're asking him to be your 2 or 3. Someone like that could be a huge get.
Totally. I mean, the trade back from 9, and then the trade for trading for Justin. Like we are in a position where we could have like 3 or 4 2nd and 3rd round picks this draft.
Yep.
And boy, that's a lot of fun, man. Like,
I know.
You could really turn this roster like not over because it's already really talented, but like, holy shit, you could really up the talent level, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be really fun to watch.
I agree. Yeah, and the center position was the one that I had the most thought on because philosophically, where I would like to be at is you sign a veteran guy who the veteran ones are never elite, so someone who's pretty good, can man the offense, can help. But then you draft a young guard that you like, or even a center, and you have him molded into that. I've always loved the idea of drafting a center, starting him at guard, and then you have your veteran guy as the actual starter for a year or two, to get him used to line calls and adjustments and everything that goes along with being a center on an offensive line. But I had not looked at the center free agent list, and based on your findings, that's probably going to be unrealistic.
Yeah,
so you may be looking at a veteran guard who has played some center in college or in the pros, and you're doing it that way, which, I mean, we did that with Whitehair, and I'm not always the biggest fan. Like, I think people take for granted the difficulty of snapping a football, but we saw it with Cody Whitehair. It's not like, I know reps can help, but sometimes you just don't have it. It's just not your thing. And how many plays have we seen, whether it was Justin, even like Mitch, like these snaps are rolling to them sometimes, hitting the floor, and it's like, that ruins the whole rhythm of a play. And Justin, right, you noted it earlier, like he does things that literally no one since that's not named Lamar Jackson and Michael Vick can do. Caleb isn't going to be able to make some of those plays, and that's not to say he's not better or better in other areas, but like those particular plays is when Justin was like, thank God he's our quarterback for that one, because that snap was fucking atrocious. So that is one.
This whole breakdown's just pissing me off more about Getsy. Just like, all right, so we got a guy who can't snap the ball, and we're just going to be in shotgun like 70% of the time. It's just like, It's fucking infuriating. God damn it. I did look at how many centers were under contract for this season and will be unrestricted free agents next year. The list is kind of staggering. There's like 10. So maybe there's like I didn't look to see how shitty those teams actually are. Maybe those teams will be like turning over, but it's like sometimes this happens in the NBA, like where a dude's got 1 year left on the deal and the team knows that they're not gonna re-sign them, and maybe we could get like a veteran center from some team whose contract is up next year, and maybe we use one of like the draft. Maybe we use some draft capital to get that player. Maybe he's in the Justin trade. Maybe he's used in the trade back trade from 9. So that's also a possibility. I put it all on the table for Poles because I actually do think he's thinking about everything.
Oh, 100%.
I think it's all out there.
The other scenario in which we literally can't predict. I mean, think about what happened with Josh Sitton when the Packers just sort of randomly cut him. It was like it was a cap casualty. I don't remember the exact scenario, but it was like, shit, here's a pretty fucking good guard for pretty cheap. Like, here you are for no draft capital needed. So there are things like that can happen as well, especially with interior linemen. They get shifted and moved, and I think that's the other thing that, and I'm not acting like I'm an expert by any fucking means because I'm not, but there are people who are guards and centers that go into a different system that they're not performing as well in, and then they get to a different blocking scheme. Like, I guess what I'm saying is, like you just said, Poles is looking at all these scenarios and ways to improve. One of those that isn't foreign or isn't it's a pretty normal process for GMs is they remember what their scouting reports were on these guys coming out of college. So if they feel like, hey, I think he still has some of that and he just wasn't in a system to make the things that I saw shine, there could be a lot of that as well. Obviously, you're it's a little bit of a flyer. It's not a sure thing, but I expect him to address the interior offensive line because to me, that's the biggest group that I'm worried about on this team. That interior was really bad last year to a point where it was like it made the right and left tackle performances kind of like be exponentially impressive because they weren't getting much help on the interior line.
Right. I mean, yeah. What do you think about? Because he's kind of been like a little banged up. I would love for Poles to go after like Quentin Nelson, just like say fuck it, like let's go.
I know the talent obviously is there. He's one of the best guards of all time, but it feels a little bit weird because then you're just throwing him in the same situation as Tevin Jenkins, and I think he's on that same road, like so fucking talented, so mean and so nasty, but he just can't stay healthy.
Right. Yeah. Damn.
So I feel like you have to have. I think you can take that chance if you can find like a rock at center, like a guy that is just going to be your dude. Sure. Cool. Now we have 2 dudes, at left guard that if one gets hurt, the other one's there, or they compete for the job and sort of see who went. Like, but until then, that would be a tough sell for me.
Why don't we just go the Chiefs way and just tell these guys to hold every fucking play? The refs aren't going to call it.
You're not wrong.
Who fucking cares? Hold every play and just put it on the refs. You think they're going to call 10 holding penalties in one game? No, they won't. They won't do it.
Against the Bears, they
didn't
just
call one.
I know.
On the Chiefs.
The Chiefs aren't the Bears, though. We get the short end of the stick on quite a bit of calls. There's some breakdowns that show that.
I mean, it's true, but it's like, what if you just did the Chris Paul and just like, I'm going to follow Steph Curry every play. Fucking call it.
Yeah, that's fair.
And just like, maybe that's just the way to go. Because like, we just got to give Caleb time. We got to give him time to cook. Yep. And I don't really care how we do it, to be honest.
I'm right there with you. No, I mean, so again, we agree that the interior of this line needs a lot of work. I think we covered center and guard there. Edge, I'm right there with you. They may draft an edge. I know they're still pretty keen on Dominique Robinson. He's getting another year to potentially develop, but I would even wager to say the same thing.
You can never have enough dudes.
No, right, exactly. But yeah. If you don't come away with one of those guys, unless they all magically get fucking tagged or something, like that's a failure. So. I agree.
One of them's for play. Like, Chris Jones, like, probably gonna go. 3-peat, like he's probably going back. But like the list was long. Like I read you like 8 names. Like there's a lot on the table here for us. The two
that interest me the most. I can't pronounce the guy's name from Baltimore, but they're rotational defensive ends, outside linebackers, pass rushers. are always fucking good. I mean, they're just good. They're what you just said. You can never have enough. I mean, think about when we got Pernell McPhee. I know he couldn't stay healthy, but that was a fucking dog.
That first
when he
year
was
with
on the
us, he
field, oh
played
my
really well.
god,
Played really well before he started getting hurt. for
yeah,
us.
very very good.
I mean, I like Brian Burns. Like
same. I was gonna say Burns.
I like that dude.
I
like Wilkins out of Miami. Like, I don't think he's gonna go back. I think he sees the writing on the wall.
Yeah,
Like,
they're gonna look very different.
They're gonna look. This is gonna be McDaniel's hardest year, and they haven't even been that good.
I know.
Oh man, it would be just great if Kyle just like in like 2 years, like the talent just like moves over, and like Kyle just decides like his tenure with the team's over, and he comes over and brings McDaniel as his OC, and then we are just like, we're in fucking heaven, offensive heaven.
That would be fucking incredible.
I don't know. I think it. I think it could play out. Like, I don't think McDaniels is long in Miami. I think that roster is hugely flawed, and I think they're gonna lose games. They have an impatient owner, and then Kyle. Like, this has been a nice run for him. It's been impressive, for sure. But that talent is gonna roll over at some point. And if you're gonna I just don't. That would be pretty crazy if they just hit at all the positions that are their strengths again. Like, it would be pretty nuts. And there's not like another Trent out there. Like, once he's gone, that's going to hurt them. I don't know. Like, 2 years from now, we get Kyle, McDaniel, Caleb. I mean,
I'm certainly not saying no. But what I am saying is, how Chicago would it be to get the coach that just blows Super Bowls? I mean, that's going to be the rhetoric. And we're gonna have to
well,
own
those
that.
people would be fucking idiots. So let's ignore them.
No, I know. Listen,
idiotic.
I've always said we're gonna have episodes closer to the season, June, July, August, of like what our expectations are of this team once we get a good feel of them. It's no fucking spoiler because I've been saying this since the podcast started. My initial expectation or what I want is just be fucking fun. If we get that and we get just offense, like a professional offense with those two dudes, obviously you're talking about 2 years from now. But like even this year, like Shane Waldron, give me just a professional fucking solid offense. That's all I ask for. I'm not asking for much. Yeah, that's it. I just want to be watchable. Just be watchable. Totally. Which is I think that's why going back that like Justin hurts my heart because he made us watchable these last 3 years and it was basically just him.
I think we're gonna really be impressed on first and second down. I hope so. I think even the most casual Bears watcher is gonna see a huge difference in the first and second down play calling. I'm excited. I don't know about the rest of it, like the game planning and the game management part of it, but I do think we're going to see more creativity on first and second down than we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, and I would even wager to say like maybe not even creativity, just like more common sense play calling. Like that's what you get with
things
Waldron.
That set up the next thing.
Exactly, which goes into your level of creativity. That's what I mean. Like I think you start with. I mean, because even with this running back room, you had Shane Waldron, and I think they're. I mean, look at what they were doing with a few years ago with Kenneth Walker and what was it, DJ Dallas and Travis Homer was there. Like they were just pounding the fucking rock when Russell Wilson was hurt. They were having success. I know they didn't do a ton of winning, but just look at the way the offense moved the ball. Like it was just common sense stuff. So yeah. I am excited for that. Which, I mean, let's just sort of shoot around then. Let's talk about the running back position because to me, that was my biggest criticism last offseason was I liked Roschon Johnson. I love the pick. I liked his film. I didn't scout him beforehand because I just don't. Running backs are kind of all the same coming out of college. It is what it is outside of the elite guys. But the one thing that did stand out was his ability to pass block. But then you look at the rest of the room. I like Deontay Foreman. I like why am I blanking on
Juice?
Yeah.
Khalil
Herbert. And even to a degree, Darrington Evans. Like, I think you had a decent room if you were going to keep all four. Darrington a little bit on special teams, but they were all like very similar backs. Obviously, their blocking ability, Roschon was the best, but like just their running style, like they weren't breaking off 40-yarders, 50-yarders. Like they were more pounding. They were lowering the shoulder, which I think is needed to a large degree. I feel like I'm still waiting on this team to find the next Tariq Cohen. You put Tariq in with Roschon Johnson, that's your 1-2 punch. My God, you unlock a different level of things that you can do on offense. You know what I mean? Even that's why I was so surprised with them not being in on Jerick McKinnon. Like, you need that level of pass catching. Maybe it was a Getsy thing. He didn't really utilize them in the pass game. But I do think you need that level of explosion. I'm not asking for like Saquon Barkley before injuries explosion. I just mean like that like extra level of unpredictability if you have both of them in the game, you know?
All right. So this might be a little fantasy influence, but you know who's on the free agent running back list?
Tariq Cohen.
Zach Moss.
Ooh, that's a good
one.
I
kind of like it. I mean, from a fantasy perspective, he played really well. I don't watch Colts games that closely, so I don't know how much that really fit. Swift is a free agent. Eckler, I hate Eckler. Pollard has not. I mean, we don't know what the Pollard situation is, but as a change of pace back, he's proven himself. Not as the main guy, but as the change of pace guy. I mean, it's not running back list, also not bad, and they don't get paid, so none of those guys are going to cost that much.
I know.
Like, even if they impact the team greatly, they're not going to cost that much.
And that's what it leads me to. I don't think they're going to sign another one. I think you have two cost control guys in Khalil Herbert, at least for one more year with Herbert, and then obviously 2-3 more years with Roschon Johnson. I think they're going to target 1 3rd, 4th round in that range.
I hope so. I hope it's a guy who can catch the ball.
I agree.
Like a little bit of like, but like someone like you said, like someone who like gashes.
Yep.
You know, and like eats up yards and like is hard to tackle. Like, would be nice.
I know. But that also
that's
makes
a luxury item though, right? Like that's not a priority. Like that's totally a luxury item, and if we get it, great. And if like that guy just gets picked, he gets picked. I don't think Poles will reach. I hope he doesn't reach for another guy that's got a lower grade, but like that's like a let's put the icing on the top for the offense.
Yeah.
Type of deal.
If it's coming from the running back position, which makes me want to transition to the receiver position, and why Velus Jones is such a disappointment, because we knew his route tree was limited, but we knew like coming out, he was like the Deebo Samuel prototype. You get the ball in his hands, he can make plays, and we have to a degree seen that. He just can't catch for shit, but like they've done some end arounds, some jet sweeps, and I mean the kid's explosive. Like he's a really good athlete. So I mean, are that adds even more value. That would like be higher on my list if you can get someone who can run the ball. I mean, you're even seeing what the Lions are doing with Amon-Ra St. Brown. He takes a handoff every now and then, some end around stuff. Just a guy with like you get the ball in their hands. This is an explosive element to an offense that makes a DC lose a little bit of sleep. I'm with you. I think we do need a big speed guy. And maybe it's not even necessarily like super top end, Brian Thomas type of speed. Even if I would 2-3 year deal with Mike Evans. Give me size. You don't need the separation, because if you're big and you can catch and treble, he has the dropsies every now and then. But like, give me someone who can go up and get it as well. I know DJ can, but he's an X, but he's a different X.
Right.
I want a dude who's just like an Alshon Jeffrey before everything that happened with him. Like that sort of dude, I would be okay with as well.
You know who I wouldn't shock the polls taking is, have you seen Johnny Wilson out of Florida State?
I've heard the name. I haven't watched the film.
All right. Yeah, like this guy is like kind of a mismatch nightmare. Like he's listed a receiver, but like it could be like a Jimmy Graham type difference maker. Not like young Jimmy Graham. 6'7", runs a 4.4.
Oh shit.
He's low on the board because he's pretty raw, but like that's like the type of guy that I'm like, oh, this would be nice. Like just like there's just really nothing you can do if the ball's thrown in the right spot for this guy, and we coach him up a little bit, So, like I could see that. Like he's got like a mid-level grade, like could go in like the 3rd round. Like I like that. And like this guy isn't that. The next guy that I really like, I like that 3rd receiver out of Washington, Jalen McMillan. I just felt like that guy always just made fucking plays, and he's 6'1". Like the wide receiver list this year is stacked. I think everybody's kind of gotten caught up in the Rome, the Marv and Neighbors like plot line and like where they're all going to go. It's just like there are some dudes on this list that are gettable later in the draft. It's like, and because of that, and like it's so funny because like like you think running backs are a dime a dozen, you can just sign those dudes off the street. And it's like quietly, receivers kind of becoming that way. Like you
Yep.
can find guys if you got the right offensive mind, like, and maybe Shane could be that guy. Maybe I don't know how much freedom he had in Seattle, to be honest. Like I really don't. Like we don't know how much Pete was really influencing the game plan. Like maybe he's given a little more freedom here, and like maybe we take one of these mid-level guys and they turn out to be something really special. So, God, have you ever been this excited for a Bears offseason? I actually don't think I have been. I'm so pumped.
No, and it's crazy because I think everyone was pretty excited and rightfully so last year when you traded the number 1 pick, got DJ Moore. Like, so the fact that this is able to be topped is insane. But really the only thing with receiver, Nas, I don't know if they're going to go for the top end guys in free agency. Mike Evans may hit the market. I think Godwin has a chance to hit the market. I mean, I don't know if they'll do that just because of what you just said. They're becoming a little more dime a dozen ish. But at the end of the day, I'm starting to see people like, and I think it's less about them being out on fields and more like, well, we have a new OC and like Mooney really isn't that bad. Maybe Tyler Scott's better. Dude, look up north just a little fucking bit. The Green Bay Packers just keep loading and keep loading and until they find their fucking guys. Like Romeo Doubs, awesome. Jalen Reed, awesome. I keep forgetting the third kid who came along later in the year. Fucking awesome. Christian Watson, when he can stay on the field. Awesome. They're not settling. Oh, EQ still has size and he can be okay and he does a little bit on special teams. No, dude, load this fucking room, man.
Right.
Like
What Green Bay does for a development standpoint at offensive line and receiver, like that combo, it's kind of unmatched around the league.
Yep.
Like the way they like, and it's just interesting. It's just like, okay, so they're the best at developing these dudes and they draft more of these dudes than anybody. It's like, there's a trend here. We think that, but it's also because they're getting the most dudes in the fucking room. Like, remember when like the Bears drafted like one quarterback? Like during the Cutler tenure, the Cutler-Orton tenure, like besides those two, they drafted like one other quarterback the whole time. Meanwhile, the Patriots are drafting quarterbacks every year when they have Tom Brady. It's just like that mindset. It's like, we don't want controversy. We don't want this. Like we have other needs. It's like, no, like there's certain, like you just draft one every year.
Yep.
Like you draft one receiver every year. You draft like a bonus lineman. You draft a bonus QB guy. Like you just do it, and just maybe it hits, maybe it doesn't. But it's like you're always like looking, learning, and trying to be solid at a position. I also think low key we didn't put this on the list, but I think backup QB is a concern. Like I know Bagent is good because like the contract dictates that like he'll be very solid to have on the roster, and we have $70 million cap room. There is definitely a scenario where we do not come away with any of these top tier free agents. It's happened before. It could happen in Poles' plan. I do think if there's cap room, it's not a big deal to pay big money for a backup QB for a team that is going to go to the playoffs and has the talent to do it. And Bagent cannot win a playoff game against a top tier defense. He cannot do it. And we won't be a top tier offense if he has to start that game. We already know that. He can manage a game, I guess, but like I don't see it. I think it's something worth looking at.
I think the point that I thought you were going to make and you didn't is in regards to it, because this is where I stand with it. I like Bagent. I think he's a good backup or 3 guy to have, whatever, practice squad dude. The argument to have a veteran in the room is more about Caleb needing an actual veteran guy. Like Bagent isn't going to be able to help. He's second year of his development coming from D2. Like, so to have someone, even if that means Bagent is the backup and the other guy is QB3, the inactive guy, I'm okay with that as well.
For sure. Yeah.
There's a lot of dudes that, I mean, fuck, get Chase Daniel back. Why not? I thought he was a good mentor. Like, just get someone like that if need be. The losing the playoff thing, while I do agree, I wouldn't that happened. If Bagent was starting a playoff game, I would just be telling everyone we're losing this fucking ball game. That would be a concern to me, really, no matter who you had at backup quarterback. Like if Caleb's not there, or if we stick with Justin, like I don't know how confident I would be unless it was like a Gardner Minshew type that we know can come in and win an NFL game, which I'm not opposed to.
I mean, I think Jimmy's on the table to come home. He's on the table to come home.
You
People
want to
keep
take a
shitting
ride
on
on the
me for this
Italian
take,
Stallion a little
but
bit?
people keep shitting on me about this guy from Eastern Illinois and Arlington Heights, but like, it's built for him to come back home and be the backup. He's won playoff games. He's won a shit ton of regular season games, and he would be a great mentor on and off the field. If you catch my drift,
Yeah,
for good old Caleb. You know, just saying.
Yeah, no, he'd show him some headlights around the city for sure. I think I just you'd have to know that Jimmy would want that though. Like he may still think he can start somewhere. You just name reasons as to why if I'm Jimmy, like I have won playoff games and I have won a shit ton. Why would I not want to at least compete for a starting job?
I mean, he's at the tail end. He's had he's had a ton of surgeries. Like it's not like the guy's been super healthy. Like
yeah, I agree.
How many seasons has he played? 16 games, like 3, maybe.
I don't even think it's 3. I think it's like 2. Yeah, 1 or 2.
I would be shocked if it was 3.
Yeah,
to be honest.
Now I'm thinking, I'd be shocked if it was 1. Has there been 1?
He has started 16 games one time, 15 another season, and that's it.
Yeah.
He started 10 one other time. So, and he's already 32. He doesn't stay healthy. Like backup is really what he should be, but other teams are so fucking bad at developing QBs. He might get a starting job somewhere, but it's like, why would this be worth the risk? Like the guy doesn't play. So come be a backup here. Spot start if you need to. You know, come home. Can you imagine if a dude from Chicago won a playoff game?
No, I want it to be
Bears?
Caleb though.
It'd be fucking epic.
It would be epic.
Frank, we all want it to be Caleb. We all want it to be Caleb. I'm just saying it does in a team that you are pretty confident in talent-wise, which I think we all are.
Yep.
That we can make a playoff run. If we're fighting for that playoff spot in the 17th game of the season and Caleb gets nicked up and can't start the next week to go to the playoffs, having someone like Jimmy there for a spot start wouldn't be the worst thing. It wouldn't be like all hope is gone. We can't win this next game. It might be a scenario where, if we can get through this game and then Caleb's back and then we can really maybe we can do something here. Like I want to keep that hope alive.
Yeah,
I get that good. And I think you owe that to the fans. Like you truly do. Like if this team is good enough to compete for playoff spots and in playoff games, let's go ball out. Like why not? If the cap, and again, this is all this is if we have the cap room to sign a player like that. I don't know what Poles' mentality is with how much of this cap he wants to use and whatnot. If he's just trying to go above the salary floor or whatever. If there's room, I think that would be a prudent move.
I'm not mad at it. No, and yeah, again, it's about the right guy. The guy who comes here needs to know he's not starting. 100%. And if we fucking get someone and say, yeah, we're gonna sit Caleb, I will be pissed. And say Caleb isn't that type of prospect. He's ready.
Caleb been ready. Caleb was ready 2 years ago. We don't need no bitch starter.
Those would be the only 2 scenarios in which I'd be upset about it. In regards to receiver, tight end, load the fucking rooms. Load them. I'm sick of this, holding out hope for a 5th round pick who had one good year. Cut it out. Darnell is Darnell. He's shown us who he is these last 2 years. It is what it is. It just is what it is. Tyler Scott, I may hold out some hope for. There were still some things that I liked. He had the dropsies in college. We knew that. Give him another year or 2. But load the fucking room, dude. You're not you have to eventually start competing with Green Bay. That is the gold standard right now. And it may even wind up being Detroit 2-3 years from now as they continue to progress. But that's how you do this. They keep taking chances. It's the same thing. Free agency. Josh Reynolds is fucking balling for him, Nas. Yeah. Why can't we get a Josh Reynolds? Right. Amon-Ra Brown was a really good 5th round or whatever it was picked. If you don't see the difference between Amon-Ra St. Brown and Darnell Mooney, maybe you need to watch a little bit more football because people are talking like Darnell Mooney still has something left in him, and maybe he does, but it's not as a wide receiver 2, probably not even as a wide receiver 3. At least not here. I'm over him.
Wow, that's harsh. Wide receiver 3, I can still see it. He's got to show a little more toughness.
That's the thing. It's just it's this weird, And again, it's people have taken it like I'm taking up for Fields. It could be you at quarterback, Nas. I've seen this guy give up on routes multiple times per game. He's like running clearly the wrong route because you can tell. And sometimes a few times it was Bayesian. Your quarterback's throwing to a spot, and you just like, I don't know if it's an IQ or something throws you up off the deal. Like he just wasn't where he needed to be pretty consistently. And that was with someone who isn't, like I'm not breaking down film every single week, but you see it live because he just looks like a flailing idiot trying to make a contortionist catch when he should have just been in the spot. He stops his route to try to make a jumping, leaping catch like he's Brandon Lloyd. I'm over the guy. I could not be more upset. He's the only guy on the roster right now that pisses me off. And maybe Lucas Patrick.
Yeah, I mean, now that Ejax is gone, I feel like... Wait, you're telling me Kwani B doesn't piss you off more?
No, I just like to fuck with him because of you. I like Jaquan Brisker a lot. It's just funny that he's always dinged up. The tweet that got...
Truly always on the field.
Him and Debo are... part of it, I always wonder. I'd love to get an interview. Like, hopefully we can continue to grow this thing and get an interview with an NFL player. And, like, how much of this is, like, played up? Because there's no way Debo is, like, hurt. Looks like he's fucking sniped on the field. Like, Deontay Johnson does this, too. And then, like, he gets carted off and then he's back 2 plays later. Like, come on, guys. You're playing this up for the cameras, man. There's no way.
Anthony Davis, this is kind of like a shout out to you. You invented this.
Yeah. Well, and then speaking to Ejax, I mean, last one, we noted safety. I think they just attack that in the draft. Maybe get a veteran guy for depth, but I mean, you just like you said, Poles has a pretty extensive history. Well, extensive. The last few years, he's drafting really well in the secondary, man. Like second, third, fourth round pick.
I have faith in him. Like, even though I definitely think it's a need, but like through free agency, I don't think so because I kind of like what he's done. And like this free agent safety list isn't like, it doesn't blow you away. It's like Antoine Winfield Jr. And then there's like a huge drop off. And I mean, now if the Winfield thing, like they have a falling out, they don't want to franchise him because they want to use the franchise on Baker or something like. Oh. I don't think they will because Baker doesn't deserve that type of money, but you never know. We
got to get to the bottom of your Baker hatred.
I think it's because I think it's pretty simple. I think he's got too much swag for someone who's average. Like that swag.
I love that.
That swag should be reserved for elite talent.
I love that.
Or an elite personality or have like elite stature.
Yeah.
Like Cam Newton makes total sense. Because
totally agreed.
Cam's like got the best personality in the locker room. He's fucking hilarious. Dudes like they are drawn to him. And he had like an elite skill set at one time of his life. Like that has to be attached to it. I've never seen Baker truly actually be elite at his position. And I just don't think, and at the end of the day, he really hasn't ever won anything.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I can't be with it. I can't do it.
Listen, I'm right there with you. I love the human side of Nas. Like just the hate. I'm a hater. You know me. You're in the group chats with me. I fucking hate everything. It's the greatest shit in the world. People always talk about like love over hate is the most beautiful thing that we've been given as humans. I fucking love it because I'm very petty. What you just described is like how I feel about 90% of the NBA. I'm like, you're not good enough to be as cocky as you are.
Yeah, I mean, and like the funny thing is, it's like I'm sure Baker's a good dude. Like he's probably a good dude. But
I don't know. I don't know if I can.
Actually, I probably toss it up 50-50 for that.
Yeah,
like, he seems like the type of dude like be fucking rude as fuck if he didn't know you. Like
I get those vibes.
Like kind of Jay. Like don't care at the urinal when the Vanderbilt student like comes up to him like, hey, we had that class together. Don't care. Like Baker's got some of those vibes. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's like residual like. Jay didn't work out for us. That gunslinger didn't work out for us. And now, like, it's like, since he's not in the league anymore, like, now I resent Baker. Maybe it's that.
No, it could be. It's so funny because do you watch Curb Your Enthusiasm?
I do, yeah.
Are you caught up with the...
I'm not. I just watched episode 1 of the new season.
That was the one where the lawyer, right? Is there or no? Not yet.
The one with the glasses.
Yeah, and they say he looks like the dude, Mocha Joe. Who owned the coffee shop?
Yeah.
It's so I swear to God, I was having this conversation like 3 months ago with my wife. I was like, it's so weird. It's like not people's fault, but when someone looks like somebody that I dislike, I automatically go into that if I have to work with them and I dislike them. Totally. What you just said, I think is a thing. A player that reminds me of a player, I'm like, Nope. Don't like
Yeah,
it.
I'm out.
Yeah. That's strange. All right, Naz. I mean, that's it. That is the list. I think we ran out of time to actually rank them. I don't think the ranking. Again, ranking. Now that we've had this conversation, is less important because just fucking load it up. Load this whole fucking thing up.
Let's go.
There's not that many positions of need, and again, we listed off like 2 or 3, probably like, if we get it, great. The phenomenal, it's a cherry on top type of thing. Load up the interior. Load up at receiver. Give me a fucking center, man. Who has been what center? I mean, since Olin Kreutz left, have we had? Whitehair was an elite guard. He was awesome at guard, but then we went through Hronis Grasu, and I mean, I could probably name a bunch. It's been a revolving door there.
For real. Oh man, can you imagine how much better that's gonna make Darnell and Braxton? Like, if we shore it up, like they all like Braxton already had a solid season. Darnell had a great season. It's only gonna make them better.
I know. You know what else is on the table that we can talk about? You may be taking a right tackle and kicking, or a left tackle and kicking Braxton inside. That's not the worst. You talk about options.
Not the worst.
Because he's not. It's not like he's an elite left tackle, but I think he's good enough where you just don't flat out replace him. Like you find him a place on the offensive line.
You replace him if you got someone elite coming in to take the spot.
Exactly. He's one of those dudes you hang on to. I mean, what they should have did with fucking what that was his name? Charles Leno. This was Charles Leno. I was gonna say Jay Leno. Wrong guy. All right, Naz. Just like you said, I'm very excited for the offseason. Y'all, we have a pretty like a list of topics through April that we're gonna get to because it's coinciding with the rookie draft and scouting and yada yada. So I'm very, very excited to get to that. Around late April, early May is when we're gonna get into the really creative, potentially silly, like funny type of stuff that I'm excited for too. But again, this is the most exciting time of the year to be a Bears fan until Caleb wins us a chip. Like until then, and we have to like actually say like, one guy makes one mistake and on a third down in the fourth quarter of the NFC Championship, we're like, yeah, fuck that guy. Like we can become Philadelphians. Like until then, this is gonna be the time of year.
This is gonna be the best offseason till next offseason. Because if we go through next season and know that Caleb's a dude, the ride up when you got guys is so much fucking fun. And if Caleb is a dude, next offseason is gonna be lit.
It is. No, it's gonna be. I mean, it's all shit. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm just
saying, baby. I'm just saying.
I know it's gonna be extremely fun. All right, Naz. As usual, this is an awesome episode. We'll be back next week. Like, share, subscribe wherever you listen. We're on YouTube. If you can leave a review anywhere or leave some comments, it helps the algorithm. Don't leave mean comments. We get them sometimes, and it's egregious. But appreciate y'all supporting. We'll be back next week. Later, Naz. Later, everybody.
Later.